I haven't really had an appetite at all.
I have about 3 days worth of food left.
I've really barely eaten anything today.
Resupply is 51 miles away. Should probably say why my pack is so damn big. Carrying 8.5 days of food. That means I need to average at least 17 miles a day right now in order to get to VBR.
Guys, if you were as confused as I was about what to pack when you're going on the JMT, look no further. This video is going to help a lot. Stick around for the end because we're going to get into a bonus section of hits and misses for the JMT. This is going to solve all your JMT food problems. Let's get into it. Oh, cool transition. Okay, no shit. The food prep for the JMT was the most stressful part, I think, of my trip. Am I going to have enough? Am I going to run out? Is it going to be too heavy? Am I going to be able to make it my resupply? Is it going to fit in the bear can? These are all questions I'm sure you're asking yourself. Okay, number one, let's get into how we can save money. Don't buy Mountain House or Alpine Air or any of those big dehydrated foods. Those are $8 to $12 a dinner, okay? Let's say you're hiking the JMT like the average person. That's 3 weeks. You're gonna be spending $180 on dinner alone, okay? And there ain't no steak coming with that, right? Add in, a lot of people are hiking with families, so that's another packet of families, 180 plus whatever you wanna do for your kids. As a dirtbag hiker, I have a better solution for you, and it's called the dollar store. And we're gonna get into that in just a second. Let's get into an example food list of what I would bring. Now remember, you have to use a bear can on the JMT, right? I had the Weekender by Bear Ideas, which they give you 45% off of their rental fees if you're through hiking the JMT, so I'll leave that link in the description. But that's a kind of a small can, and so I had 8.5 days into my resupply point at VVR. Yeah, I know, it was crazy and it sucked. I don't really recommend that, but there's not many options to do it when you're going northbound on the JMT. So what happens if you can't fit all of your stuff in your bear can? Great question. Make sure you're going to sites that have bear boxes, which are basically just boxes you can lock your surplus food in. And there's quite a bit of those going northbound when you enter from Cottonwood Pass. So I would recommend I looked them up on GutHook to see which ones had bear boxes and which ones didn't. If I had to do the JMT over again, this is the food I would pack. Most of it I actually did pack, but there is some things that I picked up and you'll hear about that from the hits and misses in the end. Breakfast. What this would look like for me is I make my own oatmeal at home, do it in a Ziploc bag, put in some like chia seeds. I put in a lot of nutritious stuff that I know I'm not going to be getting on the trail, right? So I try to make that pretty nutritious. I cold soak it so I don't have to fiddle around with boiling water in the morning. Instead of coffee, I actually do like 1 or 2 squirts of Mio caffeine, which works really well for me on trail. Also gonna jam an electrolyte packet or take an electrolyte tab. However it is, I'm gonna do that, but definitely very critical, especially when you're in high elevation things like the JMT. Lunch, this is like my favorite part. Bring flour tortillas because, why? Because they don't break apart, very easy. I bring some peanut butter in a tube. I'll leave that link because that tube was great. And then I also will bring some like jam packets, and I also will bring Spam. I used to do tuna packets. Just by getting rid of the tuna packets and switching to Spam and peanut butter and jelly, I've actually increased my calorie intake by 250 to 300 calories, which you'll see why this is gonna be a big deal at the end of the video. I also eat a 1 ounce little bag of Fritos, like the kind of the fun size, and then usually a half of a Snickers bar. Dinner, I kind of talked about this before, but there's some key things with dinner to get more calories. And one is including a little packet of olive oil. I bring olive oil in a little plastic little jar thingy-majig, and that's an easy way to get 120 extra calories, okay? Like I said before, I'll do like a nor rice side, or I'll do ramen, super cheap, like $1 or $2 maybe. And then I'll do a salmon or a Spam packet. I like the salmon because I like getting some of those good fats as well. So I usually lean more towards that. I'll also do some greens powder, and that's just like that kind of stuff that you'd put in a smoothie. You'd order it offline at Amazon or whatever. I just kind of like putting some of that in there. Sometimes I'll just take a straight shot of that, which really kind of sucks. It's not as fun as it sounds. It's terrible. And then I'll also eat the other half of my Snickers. To fill in all those gaps there is my snacks. And so you can kind of get creative with these, but I've kind of found some that really, really work well for me. I like to make my own trail mix, so I just do almonds, raisins, and then peanuts. And that's, I'm just reading, it's about 200 to 300 calories right there, approximately. I don't really know. I'll do 2 Pro bars and like 2 Cliff bars. The Pro bars are amazing. They have a ton of calories in them. They're packed, and they also come with like greens in them, and they come with like some vegetable servings. So again, I like trying to eat as healthy as I can on trail, and that's one of the ways I do it. Cliff bars are kind of full of sugar, but hey, you're on the trail, so you're gonna have to make some sacrifices. Snickers bar, like I said before. And then one thing that I might start doing is actually taking maltodextrin, which a PCTer was raving about it when I was on the JMT and said it worked really well. It's just kind of like a powder in your drink. Before we get into our bonus part, I want to talk about something real quick. It's called hiker hunger, okay? After your first few days of trail, your body's going to really start craving more calories than when it started out. So I lost 15 pounds in 14 days, okay? And I was eating like a horse. But towards the end of that, I actually got to the point where I was eating more than I anticipated, more than what I actually packed for. Thankfully, there was some on-trail trail angels that actually were giving me food. Otherwise, I would have made it, but it would have been pretty uncomfortable. But hiker hunger is the feeling of never being full, never being satiated, especially when you eat. When I first started out, I couldn't really eat that much at all for the first 2 to 3 days. I think that's probably what saved me and helped me have a surplus of food at the end of before my resupply. But that was due to the altitude. I just didn't have an appetite. When I got towards the end of my hike, like I said, I was eating so many snacks, and like I would eat my dinner plus more snacks, and I just could not get full. You might want to anticipate that, pack more calories in towards the end of your itinerary. Some hits and misses on the JMT and what I would do different for food, okay? I'm just gonna read this off of, it's just gonna be a way easier. So what I really enjoyed were, I loved Pro bars, nor rice sides, ramen noodles, green belly meals, PB&J tortillas, salmon packets, my homemade oatmeal, my meal energy, electrolytes. Spam is a game changer, tons of calories, and I think it tastes good. And then a Snickers is great for having before your ascents or just kind of when you need a pick-me-up. Some misses were spicy tuna packets. For some reason, I packed like freaking 24 spicy tuna packets. I even packed them in my resupply. And I don't think I've looked at a spicy tuna packet since I've been off the JMT. So have some variety there. Fritos in a bag, they were good. However, I ended up emptying the bags and putting them into one giant Ziploc bag. Didn't work that well. I also ordered them kind of early before my hike. That didn't work out too well because they kind of went stale. Lara bars, used to love Lara bars, but I got burnt out of them on the JMT, and I honestly don't think I can have them another day in my life. I'm gonna leave a video for the top 10 things that I wish I knew before the JMT right here, in case you haven't seen it. Very valuable. And again, if you found any value in this content, please give me a like, please subscribe, and have fun on the JMT. We'll see you guys later.